Thank you everyone for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about the magic of pull systems. And our amazing presenter today is Meiko Bahn. He is a Kanban coach and trainer. And I'm your humble moderator. My name is Diana Deryazhna. I'm a marketing manager of Kanban Plus. So if you have any questions about Kanban Plus, please feel free to ask me in the chat or in Q&A or anywhere you're going to find me. This webinar is being recorded and all the subscribers of Kanban Plus will receive the link to the recording afterwards. So make sure you're subscribed, and again, you can unsubscribe anytime. And since here, I would like to give the stage to Meiko, and let's start diving into the pull systems.
Yeah, thank you very much, Diana. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining today. As Diana mentioned, I have the pleasure to talk about the magic of pull systems today. Yeah, what that means, or how we come to pull, and what pull is different from push, and what push even is. So that's what we're going to explore today. We're going to start with push systems, right? I'm going to give you a bit of an overview or typical symptoms, behaviors, situations that I'm pretty sure will resonate with you, situations we all know, and the impact and consequences of operating a push system, a classical system that you see in many organizations, many teams. This leads us directly to, the magic as introduced, right? The pull systems, let the magic happen. I will start with a brief definition of a pull system from Kanban University, and then give you some step-by-step advice or ideas how to switch from push to pull. And then, we will see what exactly the magic is, how it looks like, and how you can see it unfold. A quick wrap-up from my side, and then we also have additional points in the end, a bit more on how to learn Kanban and Kanban Plus news presented by Diana, and we have a Q&A and live discussion. All right, push systems, where are we coming from? As mentioned, a bit of a humorous approach, but I'm pretty sure some of these things will resonate with you. Symptoms or things you might observe that you could ask yourself, are we running a push system? Am I caught in a push system? What does that mean? And in some situations, you ask yourself, where does all the work come from? So situations you all might know, whether you have a board, like a very simple board on the right, or you're working with tools that have some kind of list views or dashboards. So doing here means more or less like all possible representations of everything that is in progress. And more or less, if you show up at work in the morning, everything you see here that you are supposed to do. So a first thing that I'm pretty sure everybody knows is direct assignments. Some people just assign tasks to you in your working tool. And you ask yourself, okay, why me? Why now? What is this about? So I used to say, or if I have discussions with clients, for example, who suffer from all this task ping pong back and forth thing, I sometimes say that it's quite easy to kill an organization just by implementing Jira. For example, could be any other tool, but Jira is just frequently used. Everything you need is an assignment feature and no rules at all, right? No barriers, no constraints. So that's one of the first aspects of, am I caught in the push system? A second example, and I'm pretty sure that some of you will know this, is the typical urgent, super urgent strategic project that is presented in a huge kickoff. And of course, it's that important that we have to start right now. You might ask yourself, aren't we already working on 10, 15, 20 projects? Why another one on top? But that's not important right now because it's important, it's urgent. It needs to start exactly now, latest tomorrow. I don't know if anybody of you had experience already with salespeople. Another source of pushed work pushed into your system. Salespeople can be super creative, and the better they do their sales job, sometimes the worse for you and your working system. because they normally sell and promise a lot of stuff, and they come back, they tell you, hopefully, what they have sold, what they have promised, and they are like, okay, we have this already, don't we? Do we need to prepare anything for this? I thought that would be simple. And you're like, okay, but we need this by next week. That's the next client presentation. So, and there are a lot of more examples like this. The typical boss tasks. I don't know if you ever worked in an environment where, of course, every task assigned to you by your boss or a senior leader executive has a certain priority, and whether it's questionable or not. So you just have to do it, right? Or examples for just some tiny additional things. Maybe they are called proof of concept, or just 2 or 3 very, very small estimated exercises. Just throw them on top or assign them to the specialist or anybody who you are pretty sure of that he or she could take care of it. And on top of all this, you have, you name it, incident bugs, firefighting issues. So all of these things have in common that it's not really defined like when are we supposed to start? Everything is already started or supposed to be started right away. And so it just goes on top of everything that you already have in your system. And normally there's, your normal work, right? The regular stuff you wanted to do, which is suffering a bit from all these pushed on top work. And then there's the question that you might ask yourself, or I'm pretty sure people from the outside will ask you, did we finish anything lately? When will stuff be done? So you see, in the end, work is like being pushed into your system from all the directions, and you have not really the tools or the mechanisms to defend against that. And it's some kind of chaos. It turns quickly into chaos. It's a surprise every day. Every morning you show up at work and you find a lot of stuff on your plate. So what's the impact of this? You could, of course, say, well, yeah, it's all important work and everything needs to be done, and just prioritize a little bit, and there we go. Go the extra mile, go for some extra hours. The impact of operating a push system is you have a very low degree of control, and that goes for everybody who is part of the team. So it goes for everybody who is part of the system. It also goes for managers and leaders. Because if you don't have boundaries or entry rules, it's literally every day a new surprise. You quickly run into situations of overburdening, and this also goes two-sided, right? It goes either for the system, which you can see, it's just full of work, it's completely overburdened, and as a consequence, it also goes for the people involved. They will suffer from a lot of multitasking. They will suffer from context switching, and you might know that this makes people and work slower, a lot slower. And another consequence is you have this, this very typical priority shuffling, right? So if people see that they are waiting for something and it just takes too long, they might find their way sneaking into your system and maybe raising up priorities. And all of a sudden you end up with only red flag thing on your board or in your system, and everything is super important. It's really hard, to gain some kind of focus in work environments like this. You have lots of external influence. Everything takes long. As mentioned, people try to influence the priority or the sequence of their work items, of their orders. And managers, like if you are the manager of such a team or such a system, you will need to intervene a lot. You will need to intervene regularly, because people will come to you and say, hey, there's a lot of stuff going on. What has priority? What shall we do today? So you will have to intervene about a lot on operational level. And for those of you who heard the term lead time before, that just more or less means that things just take long. So when Kanban folks talk about lead time, they measure the time from when you start working on an item until you finish it. I lose some more words on that. As a result, it's very hard to predict anything. So you have very, very little to no predictability. You have, as mentioned, as a main character of push systems, really no control on when you start work. And it's more or less, depending on the degree of chaos, it's a pure coincidence when things will be done. So This might result in very unhappy stakeholders or customers, because what do customers normally love besides of fit for purpose and good quality? They love and appreciate trustworthiness, and they love and appreciate predictability. From time to time, they will ask you, yeah, okay, this is what I would like you to do. This is what I would like your service to deliver. When will it be done? And in a system like this, yeah, who are you to answer these questions? So how to avoid all that? So now that we know that we have little control, everything is overburdened, we lose complete focus, lead times are going into areas where we don't want them. We're completely not predictable. Nobody is really happy with what we are delivering. So that's where the magic of pull systems comes into play. The keyword here is pull. And yeah, I would like to invite you to have a look at this alternative working system, which really gives you the power to flip the script and take back control. So, all right, as mentioned, pull systems let the magic happen. What does pull system mean? Let's have a look at a quick definition. Then let's explain, or let's explore how to make this switch stepwise. What can I do? How do I start? How do I evolve? And let's see what are the results of making that switch. The definition of a pull system, let me read that. It's a system for scheduling and delivering work only when both demand exists and delivery capacity is available. So for now, for today, let's assume there's always enough demand. Backlog is never empty. And you saw this in the first slide, right? People are just throwing work at you. So we don't have a problem on that side. There's enough demand. That means that we only should start new work if capacity is available. That doesn't sound bad, right? But what does that mean? That means we need to switch from push to pull. But there's one expression here, and that's delivery capacity. And what is the capacity of a system? Yeah, so that's something we will have a look into. What does it mean and how to gain control step by step? How do you determine your delivery capacity? To switch from push to pull, you can introduce some, or you can follow some steps and improve step by step. Really depends on your situation and your context. Maybe as a very first step, that really depends on where you start. Maybe decide to use a board, not individual views anymore. So try to have a common look on the whole amount of work within a team or within a service providing organization. And define an easy to start with workflow. Keep it very simple, but maybe go for something that's a bit more, a bit more, not that generic as to do, doing, done, which you see a lot out there, but something that matches a bit more your business, your situation, your context. Then define capacity. The challenge of knowledge work is that you normally don't see it. And how to define capacity, right? If you move into an office with 10 people working on a computer, it's like, okay, where's the work? What are you producing? Who's doing what? If you have a look at logistics facilities, for example, or physical production systems, or you gain by quickly walking around and looking at the stuff, you grasp an idea of the capacity. If you take an elevator, for example, there's always capacity 10 people on it. So if it's just you, it's quite smooth to get on, to get off. If it's crowded with 10 people, it has a lot more stops already, and the stops take longer because people from the back need to get off, and you have a lot more shuffling and a busier system. So in the knowledge work, in the field of knowledge work, it's more or less that you are free to define the capacity, which is good and also bad. But it's not as bad as you think. So it's good and it's quite easy. So the idea is to introduce WIP limits. I'm pretty sure you heard of work in progress limits before. So as mentioned, no science, just start. Choose some kind of limit, not too tight, not too loose. And it depends on your situation and context. And make the limits a rule, not a law, right? Try to start with defining the capacity. That's important. That's an important step in order to switch from push to pull. Next would be start to manage the flow of work. That means, remember the push system, really hard, right? To manage flow there, because you don't even have control when things enter your system. So start to manage flow. You want things to move smoothly from left to right. You don't want any stress, any hustle, not overburdening. You just want stuff in your constraints. So watch for the total work in progress. Watch out for aging. Start to look at things that just take a little longer in the system. Start to mark blocked items maybe. So shift to manage work, right? You want the work items to move smoothly from left to right. Don't focus that much on people. So what is he or she doing today? Personal views. No. Switch to managing the work. And if you don't do it yet, jointly look at your board and act on what it tells you. So this board is a brilliant source of a lot of feedback. If you do things like manage aging, for example, you can switch on different views, or you can just click some dots if whether you have a physical board or tool. You can implement something that shows you how long is this work item already in the system, and prioritize the things that take longer. So even blocked things, blocking for several reasons, because somebody got sick, somebody is off on vacation, he just pulled in 3 new items and goes for a 3-week vacation. Thank you very much. Stuff like this. So pull work as soon as there's capacity. The next thing you can do is make starting work a clear decision, make it a clear commitment. So what is it like a backlog with whatever 50, 100, 200, 500 items? To work out exactly this point of commitment, as we call it. How do we pull work in the system? Decide regularly what to start next. Create a limited input buffer. Also, that is a very good idea, because you can regularly decide, for example, you have an input buffer of 10 items. If there are 2 slots available, you already know you have 2 free slots, and you can replenish or pull 2 things you would need to start next. The limited input buffer also keeps you from pulling in too much, because the same trap. Everything is urgent, everything is important. What shall do next, right? So don't overburden your system by just selecting. That's the most left side on the board. We don't want already trouble there. To this commitment, make it a joint decision. We have capacity available. What shall we work on next? What is the most valuable next item, or what's the most urgent next item, or whatever is, whatever your selection criteria will be. So this is how it could look like. Remember the degree of chaos we had in the first instance. I just showed an example board here of, let's say, a very generic workflow. To do is the backlog next. And I just literally 5 for each, 5 in each column. And this is how things flow as of next. Do this resistance, because as you know, want to change something in environments, in companies, you will more or less quick, sometimes early, sometimes later, face resistance when introduce changes, or even when suggest changes. If you are, let's say, the driving force for change like this, if it's your motivation, your intention to change this working environment, try to understand where the resistance is, where it comes from. Discuss and negotiate and agree on single steps, right? It's better to go slow or go in the right speed, and have agreed steps and try things out, even if it's just small steps. Start with a work in progress limit, agree on a limit that's not too tight, not too loose, and experiment with this, try it out. And prepare yourself for a journey of continuous improvement, which might go quicker, sometimes a bit smaller, sometimes you need a lot of patience, sometimes it's just small steps that have a huge impact. So embrace that journey and make it a learning journey. And then when you do all this, you might still ask yourself, why should I do all this? I mean, why should I change and go for a pull system? That sounds all great, but I mean, what's the magic behind? What's in it for me? What's in it for the team? So results from switching to pull, first of all, yeah, a very so-called low-hanging fruit is you gain a lot of transparency. You have a board that shows everything you need to make good decisions, right? So it's not just that you see all of a sudden work that has been hidden before is now visible. It's also that, as I mentioned, you could agree on mark blocked items, and you need to define what blocked is. For example, no response after 5 days from whomever in the company. Just stick a blocker tag on it. So and focus on blockers. Yeah, it's transparency for everybody involved, and there you see very quickly if work flows or if it doesn't. The next good thing is you switch your focus. You have a focus on finishing. Stop starting, start finishing is one of the Kanban mantras, one of my favorites still. You focus on finishing work before starting new items. And you can only do that by maintaining your capacity barriers to work into your defined work in progress limits. And by doing that, you have a rule and you avoid to overburden your system. You don't just pull and start new things. You focus on finishing and you produce results steadily. Good discussions and collaboration will emerge. And you can even steer this by, as mentioned, WIP limits. WIP limits are really, really powerful. Also, one of the points where you might face some of the resistance first, because people are like, they don't want to feel limited from the outside in their work. But that's not the idea, right? So the idea is to limit the work of the total system and to engage in good discussions, to have really collaboration emerge. So what can people do if they cannot pull a new work item? They need to look left and right on the board if there's maybe anybody they could help finishing a task. And that already is sometimes a very, very a brand new situation, and a very how do you say that? Very impactful. So when teams realize that somebody's asking if he or she could help anybody, that changes already something in team dynamics. But prepare for the question that as soon as you have the situation, people will show up at your desk and say, okay, what shall I do now? Prepare for the question and think about some stuff that they might do besides of going for ice cream for the whole team or baking a cake or something, which is good for the beginning and from time to time, but that should not be your standard answer. You will experience flow and steadier lead times just by focusing on finishing and having the constraints and not let too many work into your system. You just define where to start, where to finish, and you measure lead time, which is a good idea in order to have, to learn from the work items in your system, to learn to get a good feeling on what kind of a variability is good in your system and what is too much. Do we have maybe work items that are completely different? So start to observe your system and start to learn from your system. And establish feedback loops and continuously improve. So the idea is really to establish a system, giving it some constraints, establish flow thinking, and learn from your systems. You will see that things will develop in different direction. That's completely different from team to team or from situation to situation. Sometimes you have discussions about what finished exactly means and why things take long more on the right side on your board. So this goes then into the direction of maybe a definition of done would help, or some definition in an earlier process in order to establish more flow. You very quickly see the start of right sizing discussions. So when do they have the right size for our system, and when might they be just too big or not well defined, or what could be a risky item that might become too big? You will identify patterns, bottlenecks on everything you observe, on everything you discuss. Certain delays, certain blockers, do they occur regularly? For what reason? What can we do against it? So you will start, or my advice would be to start some retrospectively driven discussions, but with the use of metrics also. So you can more or less optimize your pull decisions and derive some team policies, something you just write down. For example, if you could define a policy that on a certain topic, you always want people to pair up because somebody's going to leave the company, right? So you don't need huge handover discussions. You just say, as of now, as of day one, the expert that's going to leave is just consulting one or two other people who are doing the task as a policy. And of course, you might need to watch that the policy is also followed. So, but do you remember the role of a manager in the push system in the chaotic environment? If you run a pull system like this and you successfully went step by step and have this already in this learning stage, you all of a sudden switch from regular operational intervention to system guidance. You learn, inspect, and adapt by establishing feedback loops and like reviewing the policy, setting boundaries and policies, setting working agreements for the system, for the team, for the people involved. So in the end, you gain back control, you gain a lot of stability, you will begin to be more predictable, not as of day 1 or 2 or 3, but following this learning journey. And in the end, yeah, happiness of customers will come back. And happy people, by the way, because people, from my experience, really love to work in a system like this because they are relieved from being overburdened. So then if you so far thought, okay, that sounds good, I'm going to try that out on my team, that might be a good idea. Imagine implementing this. So everything I just more or less mentioned in a general way, like principle, practice-wise, imagine implementing this not only on team level, but also on end-to-end service or process level with multiple teams involved. Something, if you implement a pull system there, just think about how the magic would unfold there. It would be 3 or 5 times the impact. Or imagine even a portfolio or strategic enterprise level, or even a whole company steered with such a system, completely relieved from overburdency and managing flow, and go for steady lead times, go for continuous flow, and make customers happy. But the main aspect for the first is, from my perspective, really to relieve from overburdency. So a quick wrap up. Magic of pull system. If you're tired of drowning in work, facing delays and shifting priorities, and you want to get back in control, my advice would be to switch to pull and turn chaos into flow, busyness into progress, and guessing into knowing. And remember that Kanban is not a team method. You often hear this discussion, I don't want to open it right now, Kanban or Scrum, what shall we do? That's not the question. Kanban is a completely different thing, management method with a work-based pull system, a flow-based pull system, at core. So not a team method. Everything we talked about can be applied on a larger scale. Just follow the principles, practices, and watch the magic unfold. And maybe reach out to a Kanban coach. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Meiko. It was really interesting. You have provided us a great introduction into the magic of pull systems. And right now, I will pick up from this place to have a short introduction into like what can you learn to know more about actually proceeding to moving to a pull system, changing push from push to pull. And here, what we can offer you is the information and the availability of our trainers and coaches. One of them, of course, is also Meiko. From Kanban University. Kanban University is a source probably where you can find first a lot of information if you're just starting exploring Kanban. You can check blog articles, and you can also check downloads. There are free downloads that will help you to start with right information. For example, the official Kanban guide, which is also mentioned here on the slide. Also, if you feel like you would like to explore courses on Kanban University website, you can find trainers from Kanban University from all over the world that can teach you courses in your own language. You can just dive in and find a coach, find a course in your country whenever it suits you. So this is Kanban University. Also, you can explore David G. Anderson School of Management. This is a place you can learn from David Anderson, and in particular, the courses from School of Management sometimes differs because some new approaches or new courses, that's where they start from School of Management, and when they are improved enough, they go to Kanban University already. You can also explore their blog. There are a lot of articles that you may find interesting. And if you're interested in exploring the courses to learn from David, you can explore their schedule and find the course that you like. As well, I will mention, of course, our Kanban Plus platform. This is a learning platform where you can find all the information, and if you prefer to learn by yourself, exploring available materials, reading the books, this is the place to go, because all the information and all the materials are gathered there in one place, easy to find and easy to work with. So if you're just starting your Kanban journey, you can start with Kanban Plus, which is BVK Plus. There you can read Discovering Kanban book by David Anderson, also a new book about upstream Kanban by Anna Radzikowska, and find additional articles, supporting materials, posters with mapped content that you can navigate around, downloadable materials, and find out how you can start, and also the origins of the Kanban method, how it started, and why, and what were the first case studies. Then you can also explore Kanban Plus, which is mainly about Kanban maturity model. If you are leading a transformation, this is a guidance. This is a map you can use to move from one stage to another, understanding what practices you can introduce to improve your processes and how to move forward. As well, we have in fit for purpose framework and information about it on Kanban Plus. You can read the book, you can find posters with mapped content, and understand after exploring this framework how to actually make a questionnaire, make a research to understand why customers choose you, who are your customers, and also how to analyze this data. It's a different approach that gives you a lot of information and a different angle on it. As well, if you're moving with the transformation, there is a tool, Kanban appraisal tool, that you can also explore that will help you to actually track your transformation. So please visit our Kanban Plus website, and you can create a free account and check it out. However, if you're gonna subscribe, you will be a member of our Kanban Plus community, where you will be able to talk to Kanban experts, ask your questions, share information, connect, cooperate, collaborate, and much more. So we invite you to subscribe, and you will receive the access to this limited access platform and exclusive communicational channel. Also, today I will share with you something special because I have prepared that for you. This is information about new feature. This feature will be launched tomorrow, but you have exclusive information today that you can check it out. It will be already live tomorrow. That we are introducing right now highlights and bookmarks, and also threads. Threads are available for corporate accounts, which means that you will be able to save the bits of the content and organize it for yourself so you can come back to it. You can also put a name and a comment on your bookmark. And for the corporate accounts, you can also have a discussion, I would say, commenting on the bookmarks. So you can choose the piece of content that you would like to comment on, and your colleagues will be able to continue and share their opinion about it. So the discussion is going just there. So this feature will be launching tomorrow. Please find a time, go to Kanban Plus, check it out, and for all paid users, the usage will be unlimited bookmarks, unlimited highlights. As well, if you are considering corporate account, if you think that you will benefit from learning Kanban together with your team, please go to our website. And if you need more information, you can download our corporate brochure. It explains more what are the benefits of corporate account, what you get, and you will get personal onboarding and additional information. And also you can request a demo with us so we can show you around and you will know what it is about. On this moment, we will move to questions and answers. And I have already seen some really good questions. I think we can receive more questions to pick up. So please feel free to leave your questions and to ask about your situations. Use a chance to talk to Meiko, and he will help you to start doing something different, maybe as of tomorrow. Meiko, let's start with the question that appeared the first. It's in questions and answers part. Let me read it. It's a question from Casey. I have difficulty defining a unit of work. Do you have any suggestions on the questions I should ask that will point to a unit of work?
Yeah, okay. So from a very easy answer would be when Kanban coaches show up or Kanban coaches try to analyze the system, we normally start with something called static, which is an approach to implement a Kanban system. And one of the steps there is it's called analyze demand. And that's more or less, I think, what the question points to. We try to find out with a group of people, with the team or with the people involved, what are the service requests? What are the customer recognizable items? What do they request from you? And of course, it's always a good idea to start tracking what the customer asks you to do. And as a next step, maybe you have already work items in your system, how you break things down. So it's a bit of question of on which level you operate. Yeah, but it's important to track briefly saying the stuff that is important for your customers. And at a lower level, maybe, yeah, tasks that you broke these things down into in order to follow up the progress on, let's say, the important ones. And yeah, difficulties to find out what these work items could be. Yeah, have a look at your service, have a look at things that are already running around or crossing your system, and yeah, maybe derive yeah, what is requested by the service you provide, more or less. And sometimes these discussions take longer, and sometimes they are no-brainers after 2 minutes over. Everybody's looking at you like, what's this question for? But I also already had static workshops where the definition of the service and the work item types took 2 to 3 hours. So it really depends on your context. But also here, I would say, go for a first 80% agreement, start working with it and learn from your system. You will later identify or realize when there are patterns, when there are situations where you might need to differentiate a bit more in detail, or where you realize that two work item types sorry, are more or less the same and you could maybe merge them. So whatever you start with will not be, most probably not the system you will work with in 3 to 6 months. These things will evolve and change after introducing them.
Great. So we have another question from Mio. Does a pull system adapt to changing priorities, and if so, how?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you mean changing priorities during working on stuff. So that's one of the traps I mentioned. Like the fuller your system is, the more chaos you have, you will have requests for switching priorities, which are, let's say, the only intention is, or the only purpose is to get of customers or stakeholders to get their tasks, their results quicker. When you design a pull system, it's a good idea to talk about, do we have, Kanban people say classes of service, do we have, let's say, the need to define different inbound or input priorities. Do we have only standard customers, or do we also have like platinum, gold, business, first class customers who already expect a different level of service? And if you have this implicitly or explicitly, it might make sense to categorize things and design the system according to these priorities. There are different methods or ways how to do this in the Kanban method, but I don't know if that would leave beginner's level for today. So just a very easy example is if you identify two different, let's say, priorities or classes of service, you could design a system and as a first measure, just define that always 50% of service class 1 is worked on and 50% of service class 2. So you have a very balanced way, and you make sure that you work on every priority the same thing. And this could in the end be agreed with stakeholders and all that. So I hope that answers the question.
Maya, if you have further questions, you can tell us if you need additional clarification. Meiko, thank you for answering. There is also a question from Luis, and I wanted to pick it up answering live. So Luis is asking in the chat if he has taken already Kanban training, if he has access to Kanban Plus, or is it a different subscription? Yes, this is a different subscription because this is a learning platform where you can get access to all the materials. If you have taken one of the classes, you might have had already a trial to the platform. So you could have upgraded if you have decided, or maybe if you haven't seen it, you can create your free account and check it out. And if you like it, you can always upgrade. We also have bundles offers. If you are interested in more than one subscription product, for example, you want to have BVK Plus to rediscovering Kanban and upstream Kanban, and also Kanban Plus, you can check our bundles, and you will see that there is a better offer. So yes, this is a subscription that you get apart from the Kanban courses and trainings. However, during the trainings, you get a trial period, so you can use it for a certain time, and you use it during the course. And also people who go to trainings, they have special conditions if they want to continue using the platform. Okay, Mia was satisfied with an answer. Do we have any other questions? If anyone would like to check their situations, maybe understand more about pool systems, or about Kanban Plus, or about something that they can learn, or maybe something that they can do differently starting from tomorrow. Okay, this is an interesting question, Meiko. I will pass it to you. You have seen it, right? Which certification is best in Kanban? It's a tricky question.
Yes, it is. And yeah, one of the most preferred answers is it depends, right? So which certification or which training class is the best? It completely depends on, of course, where your knowledge level is currently. If you have a team that wants to start or has to start with Kanban tomorrow, there's a practitioner training, a team Kanban practitioner training. If you have people moving from Scrum to Kanban, there's a Scrum Better with Kanban training. Yeah, okay, I think it refers to KMP 1 and 2. So that's, I would say, the first more or less advanced credential. It's the Kanban system design class, which I think from what we talked about today, magic of pull systems and how to move from push to pull would cover a lot of this. So the Kanban system design is a 2-day class with covering all the basics, all the principles and practices that the Kanban method brings around. And it also shows you how to conduct a static approach workshop and how to set up a first Kanban system with a team or with a respective service. So remember, not only team level, but magic also unfolds even more on service level. So I would, if that's your starting point, I would go for a Kanban system design.
Mutas, did we answer your question? Do you have any follow-up questions here? Well, I hope we did. If you have any more questions, please message us in the chat or in Q&A. We still have a few minutes to answer. However, as we reached the time at the time that our webinar is actually finishing, I would like to ask you a question. That's going to be a follow-up question to what we have asked you before. And we would be really happy if you share your answers with us. Did we meet your purpose? So we have asked you in the beginning about the purpose of you joining the webinar. What would you like to achieve? What did you want to get from this webinar? And right now we are asking you, did we meet your expectations? This information will be really valuable for us and really very helpful. Meanwhile you're responding, I will give you a brief introduction into what it is. This is an adjusted, I'd say, short version of a questionnaire from our Fit for Purpose framework. That I already mentioned before, helps you to understand why people choose you, what they're looking for. And it helps you to understand your audience better, and also gives you a lot of insights on how to improve your services to be even better fit for the purpose of your clients. Again, if you want to explore Fit for Purpose framework, you can go to Kanban Plus and check out Fit for Purpose Plus. Where you will find the latest Fit for Purpose book by David Anderson, and also additional supporting information. You will find articles, posters, and additional materials. So feel free to check it out. You also have a free account to have a sneak peek. And you can also subscribe to unlock the full content and to join our exclusive community. Meanwhile, I see some information from John. Okay, that's about a unit of work. I don't know, Meiko, if you want to comment something on it. Greg, you're welcome. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, I think the point here is meaningful deliverable, right? So something that is, I would not focus too much on the smallest, but meaningful deliverable. Yeah, and as mentioned, flow is the goal is that something moves steadily through the system. Yeah, can be completed within a few days. Well, that completely depends on your context. If you set up a pull system for project portfolio system, most probably your projects will not be completed within a few days. So remember, you can also try to establish flow by implementing a pull system for exactly this purpose, to limit the projects that your organization is handling in parallel, to stop overburdening there, to focus on finishing before starting new, like the holy or the mentioned super urgent strategic project, and the next one. And projects can have a completely different variability and lead times than smaller work items. So that completely depends on your context and the system you are setting up.
Okay, great. I will be wrapping up, and I will tell you thank you for choosing to spend with us this evening or the morning. And thank you for your questions. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your participation. And thank you for keeping learning, finding new information and new ways to improve your processes. From our side, we were really happy to be here today with you. And we hope you have learned something new, that we managed to give you some insights. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. You can can reach out to Meiko as well for some Kanban insights, for some coaching or consultations. You can reach out to me if you have any questions about Kanban Plus. You can always reach out to Kanban University professionals through the website or to David G. Anderson School of Management. We were happy to be with you today. And if you want to receive the recording to this webinar, make sure you are subscribed to Kanban Plus newsletter. You can do it, you can subscribe on Kanban Plus website. I have shared the link earlier, but anyway, if you go to Kanban Plus, you will find the subscription window. And thanks again from my side.
Thank you very much from my side as well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, take care.